This video is brought to you by Soccer.com, North America's largest online soccer retailer. Don't forget to use coupon code 1SR4U13 at checkout for free shipping within the US on any order of $100 or more. Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you an unboxing plus on-feet video of the brand new Nike Mercurial Vapor 9 AG in the Fireberry colorway. If you guys could take a second to leave a like on the video right now, it would be greatly appreciated. Like all the top-end models from Nike, a string bag is included. This particular one is that Fireberry pink with the electric green accents throughout. Really nice string bag, but again, it's only included with the top-end models. So if you're not buying the Vapor, you're buying a Takedown, it's not going to include a string bag. Let's get this box out of the way so you can get a good look at these shoes. This is the first top-end AG model of the Vapor that we've ever seen. And AG, I think, is something that is becoming more and more common. They're popping up all over the place. Some people are playing exclusively on AG. Others are playing half and half. There's all kinds of different ratios. I've heard all kinds of explanations. But a lot of people have been avoiding the AG stud patterns because they haven't been made available in the top-end models. But now, like I said, you can get the very popular Nike Mercurial Vapor 9 in the top-end model with an AG stud pattern, which is definitely a good thing. So there's no excuse to avoid AG stud patterns anymore because, like I said, they're making them in the top-end models. It's becoming more and more common, and I think that there is a really big demand for this type of stud pattern because, like I said, AG is becoming more and more common. As far as the stud pattern you see here on the Mercurial AG, basically it's a little bit different than the other three lines from Nike. It's a new AG stud variation if you want to compare it to the other ones. I have the Legend 4 AG stud pattern right here. If you want to check out this video, I'll leave an annotation on screen as well. But you can see that it is a little bit different, much more minimalistic on the Mercurial series. But as far as the main studs themselves and how they're laid out, there's not a huge difference between the two. They just made it a little bit more minimalistic to match the lightweight feel of the Mercurial series. And even though it is an AG stud pattern, keep in mind that the shoe is still very, very light, both in hand and on feet, which you'll see a little bit later in the weigh-in portion of this video. I know the main question that I'm going to get right away is, can I use this stud pattern on firm ground or natural grass playing surfaces? And my answer to that question is, of course you can. No one's going to stop you. Do I recommend it though? Not really. This stud pattern, like it says right there, is designed for artificial grass. And I've recommended this before. I made a video on this talking about what stud pattern should I use. If you want to check that out, get all the details as far as what stud pattern or what stud patterns you might need depending on what playing surface or what playing surfaces that you play on, go ahead and check out that video. Like I said, I'll leave an annotation on screen. But when these stud patterns are designed and tested, they're designed for one specific playing surface, not multiple surfaces. This doesn't say artificial grass plus firm ground. It just says artificial grass, and that's really what it should be used on, no other surface. And there's reasons for that. One could be durability, two could be your own safety as well. So just like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but there are a lot of dangers, and that's why artificial grass stud patterns are so important, because it is actually pretty dangerous to be wearing firm ground or even soft ground stud patterns on artificial grass. And there's two main reasons for that, both leading to having too much grip. There's such a thing in soccer shoes as having too much grip. It's good to have some mobility. It's good to have a little bit of slippage once in a while, because believe it or not, that's not only protecting your shoes, but it's also protecting you. When you wear a firm ground stud pattern on artificial grass, it puts a lot of stress on all the seams of your shoes because you have so much grip. Because there's no breaking point and you're really not going to slip on artificial grass with a firm ground stud pattern, you're putting a lot of extra stress on all the seams of your shoe, which is why you tend to see premature separation between the sole and the upper itself. That's one reason. The second reason is your own personal safety. Like I said, if you're not able to slip and you have very little mobility once your foot is planted, like you will on AG when you are using a firm ground stud pattern, like I said, you're putting yourself at a pretty high risk of injury. And I'm sure you guys have some horror stories. Let me know about them in the comments, just to justify my point here. Some of you probably haven't got hurt, but I'm sure there's enough of you that have gotten pretty seriously injured using firm ground stud patterns on artificial grass, and your injury was probably attributed to the soccer shoes that you were wearing. As far as this particular layout is concerned, I know that there's been some confusion about the Vapor 9 on pretty much all models, the SG Pro, the firm ground, as well as the AG, because there's been so many sample pictures that were put up on large online retailers. You saw a lot of them had carbon fiber running through the middle. Some of them had completely clear sole plates with the AG studs over top. but this is the model that's being released to the public. So if you did buy an AG stud pattern, no matter from what website it was, it's going to look exactly like the one I have here. So just keep that in mind. Although it is a little bit different on the metallic platinum AG version, instead of having a solid black plastic over top, it is actually clear, so you can see all of the glass fiber underneath. Keep in mind that this is a full glass fiber sole plate as well. Nothing has changed on the AG model in comparison to the Firm Ground or SG Pro. It's 2 layers of glass fiber running through the heel and midfoot, with 1 single layer in the forefoot, very similar to what you're going to find on the metallic platinum version of the Vapor 9. So just keep that in mind. Again, it's just made to be a little bit more flexible. I think they're better off using 1 single layer in the forefoot as opposed to 2, because you just don't really need it on artificial grass. You're not going to get any kind of stud pressure from a sole plate like this. So like I said, you have this plastic covering over top, and that's mainly there to allow for a better stick, more durability between for the studs to actually stick to the bottom of the shoe, so they're not going to fall off or anything like that. The studs themselves are made out of like a hard rubber material and have a little bit of flex to them. You can see they're actually like these little tubes that are hollowed out, and they're designed like this to have a little bit of a breaking point. If you guys can see, when I squeeze it, it actually bends a little bit. The reason for that is when you plant your foot, it's still going to cling to the turf, but because the stud has a little bit of flexibility, it's going to have a breaking point where you're not going to be completely stuck in the ground. You're going to have that ability to move your foot, just like a firm ground stud pattern would feel on natural grass. This artificial grass stud pattern is going to feel like that on an AG plane surface, which is exactly what you're looking for. You can see they have varying heights, and like I said, the layout, you have all the studs where you would want them to be. It's still minimalistic. It still matches the Mercurial style of things, and because it is so minimalistic, the shoe still has a very lightweight feel, which you'll see a little bit later in the weigh-in portion of this video. As far as the upper and fit of the shoe goes, it should feel exactly the same as the other Nike Mercurial Vapor 9s. All the stud patterns, regardless of what you're buying, the fit of the shoe and the upper of the shoe is identical. The only thing that's going to be a little bit different is going to be the makeup of the sole plate, not the shape, just the makeup, and then of course the stud pattern itself, so just keep that in mind. As far as the Fireberry colorway goes, really nice color. You have this Fireberry pink in the front, fades to that red plum, and then you have the black, white, and electric green accents throughout. Again, some people love this new design, some people aren't such a big fan. Just keep in mind that this does have that speed control golf ball like dimpling on the upper, which is what you're going to find on the Fireberry colorway as well as the Sunset colorway, whereas the metallic platinum is going to have like a smooth faux leather finish. I have an unboxing of that. I'll leave an annotation on screen if you want to check that out, get some more information there. But basically the speed control dimpling is designed to have, well, it's designed to enhance grip, and basically how it works is, because it's not a completely smooth surface, depending on how hard or soft your touch is on the ball, it's going to provide more or less grip. So if you're making softer touches like dribbling, you're only getting half the surface area of the upper, which means that you're going to have a little bit less grip and it's going to slide against your foot nicely, which is what you want. Or when you're striking the ball and having a hard contact or hard touch on the ball, all of these dimples are going to compress a little bit and you're going to get full surface area of the upper, allowing for a little bit extra grip. Is it a super noticeable thing? It's a little bit noticeable, but it's not going to make or break the shoe. It's just a cool feature, cool technology that Nike has added to the MV9 that I'm personally a really big fan of. You do, of course, have ACC all conditions control as well, which is like a wet control element. So if you are playing in wet conditions, you're going to have a little bit better friction between your foot and the ball, which is definitely a good thing because a lot of synthetics can actually be pretty slick, and this one does actually work. I should mention as well that I do have a full review for the firm ground model already up on my website, soccerreviewsforyou.com. So if you do want more information on the overall performance of the MV9, go ahead and check out that review. There will be a link down below in the description. Same heel liner as you got on the last Vapor, still a synthetic leather liner on the inside. Then I'll pull out the insole for you guys so you can get a good look at that as well. Perforated insole with the mesh liner on the top. Very lightweight, very minimalistic. Honestly, not the best insole that I've used, but it definitely gets the job done. But that's pretty much it as far as the MV9 itself goes, as far as the unboxing goes anyways. And move on to a quick weigh-in so you can see how light this shoe is. The Mercurial series has always been about being as light as possible, and I know that a lot of you are probably worried with that extra plastic plate on the bottom that the AG version is heavier than the others. And what I can tell you is how they feel in hand and on feet is pretty much virtually the same. There's no difference in weight that I can tell. It still feels very, very light. So I'm going to weigh this in real time for you guys so you can see exactly what it weighs. Keep in mind that the firm ground model in a size 9 US that I've weighed anyways weighs in around 6.8, 6.9 ounces. So I'm going to put this one on the scale. Again, brand new pair, AG model in a size 9 US. going to weigh it in real time so you guys can see exactly what it weighs. And this pair weighs in at 7.4 ounces. So yes, it weighs ever so slightly more than the firm ground model, about 0.5 to 0.4 ounces more. But does that make an impact on the overall feel of the shoe? Absolutely not. I would call this an insignificant amount of weight. It's basically a little bit more weight than the laces themselves. So just keep that in mind. It's pretty much nothing in terms of a weight difference. And like I said, if you are going to be playing on artificial grass, the AG model of the Vapor is definitely what you need to take a look at. That's pretty much it as far as the weigh-in portion goes. And move on to a quick on feet so you can get a better idea of how these guys fit. Alright, here's a look at the MV9s on feet. And I know the first question I'm going to get a lot of is, does the AG version fit the same as the firm ground version? And the answer to that question is absolutely they do. The firm ground, the AG, as well as the SG Pro version are cut and shaped exactly the same way. So there's no variation in the fit of the shoe whatsoever. All the shoes are going to fit great. And that goes for pretty much any shoe. It doesn't really matter what the stud pattern is, the fit of the shoe is going to stay exactly the same. So just keep that in mind. As far as the MV9 itself goes, for those of you that don't know already, it is a very narrow cut shoe. As you guys can see, it fits extremely close to the foot. Easily one of the, if not the best fitting thin synthetic soccer shoe currently out there on the market. Really hugs the instep. The midfoot, the forefoot, as well as the toe box is smaller than it was on the Vapor 8. A little bit tighter cut. If you fit into the Vapor 8, you're still going to fit into the Vapor 9. But again, if you do have wider feet, the MV9 is definitely a shoe that you should probably avoid because it's not going to fit you all that well. I would say I have about a regular to average width foot, and I'm pretty much at the maximum of what this shoe can handle. So like I said, if you do have wider feet, the MV9 is definitely not the shoe for you. As far as sizing goes, they do fit true to size. I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit in the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair, I strongly recommend going true to size. As far as how the AG stud pattern feels, it's nice and low to the ground. When you're playing on an AG surface, it is very, very shallow. Like I said, it's like playing on a carpet. So it's nice to stay low to the ground, and like I said, it feels fantastic. If you've never worn an AG stud pattern on artificial grass, then you're missing out because it really does perform fantastically. And like I said, you're not going to get a better performance out of any other stud pattern other than an AG stud pattern on artificial grass. So just keep that in mind. That's pretty much it as far as the on-feet portion of this video goes, and move on to my final thoughts. Alright guys, that's it for my unboxing plus on-feet video of the MV9 AG. I'll leave some annotations on screen to some other MV9 related videos that I've made that you may not have seen. I did a free kick test as well as a comparison video between the MV9 and the MV8, as well as a comparison between the MV9 and the current Addy Zero. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't seen it already. As far as the full review for this AG model goes, I'm going to test this out, very curious to see how it's going to perform, and have that review up for you guys hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So if you do want to check that review out, like I said, it'll be up in a little bit. In the meantime, if you want to go to the review page for this exact pair, there will be a direct link down below in the description where you're going to find the high quality images of this pair of shoes to give you a better idea as to how it actually does look in person, as well as buy now links with some of the best prices online, including some exclusive SR4U coupon codes to get you guys some additional discounts if you are interested in ordering a pair. Like I said, if you want to see a review of the MV9 right now, the firm ground review is already up on my website. I'll leave a direct link in the description to that as well. If you have any questions regarding this shoe, feel free to leave me a comment down below. And like I said guys, if you could leave a like on the video, it would be greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, be sure to hit that subscribe button for daily videos on all the latest soccer gear, such as more unboxing, on-feet videos, reviews, comparisons, free kicks, all kinds of crazy stuff happens here. So like I said, if you're not subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. One last thing, I do have an Instagram now if you want to follow me there. My Instagram is called VujoJosh, just like this channel name. You can go ahead and look me up, or again, the link can be found down below in the description. Other than that guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching.